Good afternoon, community. My name is Adrienne Seltzer, and I am one of the co-founders of Stand Up for Lower Merion in Narberth, along with Annie Dennison, who's unable to be with us today because she's running a self-defense class. Annie handles the calendar portion of our weekly newsletter, and we hope you all enjoy it and find it useful. Today's session is Civics is Not a Dirty Word. Finding your way through local government. Um, Please feel free to send us any questions you may have on this presentation. Thank you. I'm going to share my screen now. Okay, and here we go. So this session will highlight local government, school district, judiciary, positions, and why primaries matter. Lower Merion is a first-class township, but first class doesn't pertain to rich and poor. First class actually pertains to population density and the structure. So we have a board of commissioners where second class townships have a board of supervisors. And also it is by the amount of people in a square mileage. So Lower Merion, the wards were just redistricted. These are the new maps. And your voting location may have changed. We'll say more about that later. We are the largest municipality in Montgomery County and the third largest in Pennsylvania. We were first settled in 1682 by Welsh Quakers and in 1713 established as an independent township. And in 1900, we were incorporated as a township of the first class because we had a lot of people. Narberth, the other, is a borough that is located totally within Lower Merion Township. It's governed by a 7-member council, has a mayor who has oversight of the police department and can also veto anything that the 7-member council passes. They're originally located on a parcel of land deeded to Edward Rees, who arrived from Wales in 1682. And a portion of this original tract became the 100-acre farm of Edward R. Price, who was a son or a grandson of Edward Rees, and who founded Elm as a Quaker-friendly town in 1881. The town changed to Narberth in 1893, and Narberth was incorporated in 1895. Our area has a long history, not compared to Europe, but in the US, we have a long history. Why local government matters. Local government takes care of a lot of quality of life issues. They oversee, and I'm going to go through this quickly. You can read this, but these are some of the reasons that you should know who your commissioner is. In our Stand Up for Lower Merion newsletter, there is a link to find out who is your commissioner. Interestingly, or amusingly, my husband asked, after I asked him how many commissioners there are in Lower Merion Township, he answered, "Why does it matter?" And I replied, "Because of all the things they're responsible for, and you can see them here." And he asked, "Well, why can't I just ask you?" So there you go. And I will post that link is in on the last page of this presentation to find your commissioner. So we also have a school district with around 8,600 students with a budget of over 320 million, which is, I think, around 7 times the budget of the township. That's why your school board directors are important. They oversee making progress towards the strategic vision that they set. I don't think there's any school board members on the board when that strategic plan was set 10 years ago. They are working on a new one, but they're in charge of curriculum and policy. And we have to be vigilant to make sure that they're following those policies. Building and property management, teacher and staff contracts, special education, they the vast amount of our property taxes are from school taxes. And they're supposed to hold the superintendent accountable for district operations. Directors are elected at large, which means they represent the whole district. They do not get paid, but are responsible for the district's overall performance. Remember that the board works through the superintendent, who then directs administration. Change cannot happen overnight, but we as constituents can be targeted and persistent in our efforts to make the district better for all students. Another branch of government is the judiciary, along with the executive and legislative branches. In Montgomery County, magisterial district justices, the minor courts, as you can see here, um, are really the only judiciary branch we have. They can issue arrest and search warrants and emergency protection arrangements, set bail, hear complaints in civil matters up to $12,000, mediate landlord-tenant disputes, and my favorite is they can perform weddings. In June, we will do another session just on the judiciary because there are judges up for election this primary. And here's more about the primaries. PA holds elections twice a year, every year. It's a primary and a general election. Unfortunately, PA has closed primaries, which means that um, only registered voters of the major parties can vote for candidates that their party represents. All registered voters can vote in special elections and on ballot questions. So that's why it's important for you to pay attention to the primary, even if you aren't registered as a Republican or Democrat. And the goal of primaries is to have voters select their party's candidate to run in the general election. It seems nowadays more and more people are registering as independent. Why I understand this, they're removing themselves from the process by not registering with a major policy. But something you may not know is you can always change your registration. I mean, May 5th is the last day to register to vote. It's also the last day to change your registration. So you have a couple more weeks if you want to change your registration so you can vote in the primary. And then you can change it back. It's not a big deal. My son does it continuously. My favorite was when he registered as an anarchist. I'm not sure which strand of DNA that came from. Probably my mom's side. There's comedians there. I didn't get that gene, or else this presentation could be a lot more exciting. So what's on the May 20th primary ballot? Statewide judges, this is in order that they're going to appear on the ballot. The Court of Common Pleas, this is why we're going to do that the judicial session. County row officers, the jury commissioner is the only one that is up for election this time. School board directors, there's 4 at-large positions. Interestingly, them commissioners and borough council, this is only about half the amount of directors, commissioners, and council members. There's 9 school board directors, but only 4 are this time. They have biannual elections. The other 5 will be running in 2 years. This year in Lower Merion, the commissioners, it's the even-numbered wards are running, and in 2 years, the odd-numbered wards will run. And Narberth Borough Council, 4 of their at-large positions are up for election, and in 2 years, 3 will be up for election. The mayor is also a 4-year term, as is the Narberth and Lower Merion tax collector. Statewide judges are. I did leave out the district justice. That's only one of the 3 district justices in Lower Merion, and I was looking at my ballot, and I don't have that race happening in my ward. So some of you will have another judicial race on your ballot. And this stuck before. I don't know why. Let me try this. There we go. This is kind of important and interesting, at least to me. But cross-filing is allowed in some races. School director, magisterial district justice, and also common pleas court. That means the candidates can run both on the Democratic ballot and the Republican ballot. The school board used to be a nonpartisan position, but that has changed. It has been politicized. And having, in this time of hyper-partisanship, it can lead to confusion for voters when people might not want to vote for candidates who support, for example, book banning. And this is one of the reasons that the parties endorse, but voters should be doing their due diligence. And there's not enough importance placed on these local elections. But as you can see from what your local electors are responsible for, these are really important to your quality of life. So I want you to find out who the candidates are. You can do that because you can look at your ballot on Monco Voter Services. Link will be at the end. And check out their websites and go to meet and greets. Google them. Talk to people that you trust who are knowledgeable in these areas. And this is why voting is important. And you might want to consider changing your registration if you're an independent for just, like a couple weeks. When you vote in a primary, you're more likely to vote in the general election, and fulfilling your civic responsibility becomes easier. Your vote carries more weight since less people vote, sadly. But those primary voters are generally more partisan than general election voters. Obviously, they're registered to the 2 major parties, which is how fringe candidates end up on the ballot in the general election. More primary voters can mitigate this. Open primaries would help too. Open primaries are when even independents can vote in the primary. And If more people vote in the primaries, one segment of the population isn't calling all the shots, which are the more partisan. And even if your favorite candidate loses the primary, if they have a good turnout, the winning candidate may adopt some of their platform to appeal to a broader group of voters. And even if you don't change your registration, you should still pay attention to the primary because it can feature ballot measures, or there could be a special election that needs to be voted on that you can vote on. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. Um, and you could contact me here at Stand Up for Lower Merion in the Narberth newsletter. Here is also, if you go to this email down here, that you can subscribe. I will be sending this out to everyone who registered. If you don't find it useful, that's fine. My feelings will not be hurt. Just feel free to hit the unsubscribe button. And here are some interesting links that we have. Here's Montgomery County Voter Services that has all types of information that you need. Let me see if this will work. And yes, it does. So you can see all your primary election information here and everything you need on this Monco site. What does the school board do? That was a video I did with Virginia Pollard, who was a school board member several years ago. Here's how to contact your election officials. Your voter registration status. This is really cool. You do this, you find your voter registration status. Let me see if this will work the way I hope it does. You fill this out, and then you can see, this is me. So you can see your voting records, my date of birth, okay, you know. You can see I applied for a ballot, but I'm not an annual mail-in ballot voter. And here's where I vote. It tells me what congressional district I'm in, and the address of the voter services, the county voter services, and if you keep scrolling down, your election day polling place. And even more so, you can then put in your address and find out how to get there. So this is a really cool website. And you can also check that there's no problems with your voter registration. And we have a link to the NAACP voting guide, which gives you a lot more details about who can vote, how you can vote, and how to apply for a mail-in ballot, who's your township commissioner, and again, the email for Stand Up for Lower Merion and Narberth newsletter, and to contact me. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something, and you have a nice rest of your Sunday, or whenever you watch this. You take care. Bye.